Your profits are slowly being squeezed. But why? Most business owners focus on sales and marketing, ignoring the costs eating at their margins. Tariffs aren't just a government headline, they're inflating your supplier costs and eating at your margins. In this video, I'll explain how these hidden costs are affecting your business and how you can protect your profits. I'm Grady Cool, CEO of Cool Wealth Management. I help business owners with their finances and making sure they get the most out of their business. To give a little bit of background before we dump right in, tariffs are taxes placed on imports from other countries. Recently, back towards February, President Trump introduced new tariffs across the board for every country. Specifically with China and Mexico, he raised those up to 25%. There have been discussions with other countries to get rid of some of these tariffs in specific industries or just kind of across the board with important trading partners like Canada, Japan, and the UK. With tariff come hidden costs. Where this shows up is in supplies. Generally, when you hear taxes across the board with different countries, you think specifically with big governments or with large corporations that do business in every country. But a lot of businesses that sell products or they need things to be able to provide services have to pay for supplies from other countries, whether this is in the form of labor in other countries or whether this is actual physical products they need. So tariffs have come around. Where are the hidden costs? Supplies cost more in a lot of different areas. It's not just massive corporations or international conglomerates that are affected by this. The prices of a lot of different goods coming from other countries, which can be used as either parts or the actual final product that are being sold here in the United States. This has been misidentified as inflation in a lot of senses. We had a lot of inflation back in 2022 and 2023, and then additional costs on top of it with tariffs. They were two different things, not necessarily the exact same thing, even though in a lot of circumstances they've been identified as the same thing. Part of the problem is that we did see income rise throughout that period. Many people got a 5 to 10% raise. This is not on the same level as supply increases where, well, if the price went up by 25%, I can tell you the manufacturer's not going to eat that. You're going to be eating that cost. If you sell a good or service where there are multiple components to it, the fact that those costs get spread across multiple areas can make it even more confusing to figure out where these changes are really taking place. Now for the big question. How does this actually affect your business? When you sell something, there are costs with it. So if you sell it for $10 and it costs you $20 and you have an 80% profit margin, and then all of a sudden you have to start paying for supplies that make it so you have to pay $40, well, all of a sudden you're now 60% profit margins. That's still a great situation, but there are some places where, their profit margin was only 10 to 15% to begin with, and now they're down to 7%, or no profits at all. Under the circumstances that you don't want to just eat those supply costs, what can you actually do? First thing that comes to mind is just increasing your prices. If your product used to cost $10 for people, you're going to now make it $11 or $12. Basically, taking the supply cost and just going, here, customer, your problem. Part of the problem with this is that it makes it so you might have less customers. It's easier for a massive conglomeration like Amazon or Walmart or Apple to see the tariffs, go, that's a temporary change for a few years. I'm going to eat the costs, eat up more market share, and then I'll increase costs later on down the road for all my customers once there's a lot less competition. You might not have 4 or 5 years worth of cash to just sit around and have profit margins at 5 to 10%. This creates a tricky situation where you need to figure out, do I need to monetize in other ways? Can I increase the price? Or do I just have to eat this for a certain amount of time while this is most active? In the areas where I'm getting supplies from are really high, are those going to come down anytime soon? There's a lot of questions you have to ask yourself in the process. That all sounds fairly nebulous in nature, but if you can figure out what are the areas being most affected in terms of your specific supply chain, and you can figure out what is going to be the most effective way to solve the problem, then you might actually have a solution. The fact that you can actually identify the main problem, ask the right question, makes it so it's much easier to get the right solution. One thing you might consider is how this affects any sort of investment strategy within your own business, meaning do you buy additional tools? Do you pay for different types of supplies? And generally speaking, if you're going to make changes, slow changes. Try changing one thing at a time, not 6. Tends to go a lot better. See how something goes for 3 or 4 months, then you can continue to adjust from there. Need to make our profit margins sustainable, while also thinking about how is this best for the customer. Let me know down in the comment section how you guys are adjusting to tariffs, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.